So, David,
Yes, Claudia.
do you ever hear voices in your head?
That was the creepiest intro for such a topic. When do I not hear voices?
Sounds like we're doing a horror movie episode today.
This is Halloween special.
We don't have an elevator pitch. We're like, just listen to us talk for 20 minutes and you'll understand why this podcast is called The Mindful Chaos. Yeah, this guy's a therapist, guys.
I just offended everyone.
You're gonna get canceled.
What? The podcast that serial killers hate.
Chaotic.
Okay, and cut.
Yes, not like voices, plural. I gotta clarify that.
We gotta start counting. Wait, let me see how many I have.
No, shh.
Wait, it's my turn. It's my turn.
One at a time.
You go back. You go back in. This is not a joke, okay?
Okay,
it's
my
real
bad.
Mental illness.
It is real. It is. Mine is just one voice, my own voice, and it's only sometimes that it pops up.
Okay, mine is also one voice. It's also my voice, but it's not sometimes. It's always. Like, it never shuts down. It's always yapping. Sometimes in bed. I think that was the other thing I was thinking about. You know, our last episode when we were like, are you more sad at night?
Yeah.
And you're like, mine is more like a feeling. But for me, I'm like, mine is my constant, like, different thoughts.
Yapping.
It's my inner monologue talking to me the entire time.
Does it need to breathe or like rest? Or does it just keep going?
It just keeps going. And if I focus on it, it sometimes just, I'm like, shut up. Like, this is too much.
Can you give us
Can you stop
an
talking
example?
for a second?
Can you give an example like right now, if you just forget your own consciousness and just go with the flow? What's it saying?
Okay, but I have to clarify. If we're talking and you're talking to me, I can listen to you. Like, there's no voice in my head when I'm listening to you.
Okay.
But if I take a moment
I'll shut up now.
and I stop thinking and I stop talking, let's see what happens. Okay, well, then my voice just goes like, well, this is awkward. Now you got to start saying something, because then nothing really will happen if you're not going to say something, and then it's going to be a pause and your podcast will have silence. So it just keeps going. It's like rambling and rambling. And then I'll start thinking, oh, the weather looks nice. Really?
Yeah, I was just like
blank.
This is it. Yeah, just nothing. So my inner monologue didn't come out in that moment.
When does it come out then?
Randomly. Usually when something happens. Like if the weather's really nice, I walk outside, it'll be like, it's so nice out. And then that's it.
Okay, even as you were talking, I was listening. And then when you had a pause and you said something, in my mind, I responded to you like, wow, really? Like,
that
what
quick.
Do you mean?
That was really quick. There was no pause there to me.
When you took a breath.
I was like, what pause? Between words. Between words is too long.
You know, when you have a comma in your sentence and a period in your sentence, my inner monologue just fills that space.
That's so annoying. How do you function?
How do I live?
It's so noisy.
It's so noisy. So sometimes I keep it in the background, like background noise, you know, when your TV is on.
White noise.
You kind of don't notice it. Yeah. Not even static or white noise. It's like the TV is on, the news is on, and you just keep it in the background. Or an episode is playing and you just kind of forget about it. But if I focus on it, I don't pay attention to it, but it's constantly there. And if I focused on it, then it just turns up the volume and I'm like, oh.
When you listen to music, it's not playing.
When I listen to music, then I'm singing in my mind with the music, or I'm like humming.
Okay. So your inner monologue sings along.
Yeah, what do you mean? Yours don't?
I zone out with music. So it's even more quiet.
This is what I try to achieve when I meditate.
Oh, right. Meditation must be so difficult for you.
Yeah, I think that's why. Yeah, I was talking to some friends the other day, and I was like, "Oh, meditation is so great because if you start doing it a lot, you'll end up building this moment that you get out of meditation where it's just quiet, like there's nothing.
Yeah,
and then that feeling gets you kind of addicted, and then you want to keep meditating to grow that quietness.
Right.
And then my friend was kind of looking at me like, okay, but she didn't sound too convinced. And then I realized it's because she doesn't have an inner monologue. She doesn't have to quiet anything. And I'm the one being like, I need some quiet.
But everyone else is just turn off the TV or don't listen to anything. For you, it's like
Yeah. I need a moment of like silence. Even if it's like a 0.5 seconds, that feels very nice.
that's wow. Okay, all right. I didn't know it was that privileged.
I always thought that everyone had that
Yeah.
until I think a couple of years ago, maybe I saw some Instagram posts that talked about it, and it split up it's like that black and, no, the blue and white dress.
Oh
The
yeah,
blue and white dress
yeah,
and
yeah,
the black and gold dress,
yeah.
where people were seeing different colors of the dress. And
Right.
essentially, like, there are a lot of other people who are like, yeah, I have an inner monologue. And some people were like, I don't. So I did some research, and
Oh,
apparently only 30 to 50% of people have inner monologues,
so
which means
you guys are
70%
the
of people don't have
minority.
a. Yeah, yeah. I thought it was, well, I mean, I thought it was 50-50, but it seems like it's more like 30-70.
It could be up to 50-50.
Yeah, it could be up to 50-50. I mean, this research doesn't take in the entire population of the world, so it's
What?
just kind of like.
What a bad study.
I know. Not conclusive.
I'm sure our survey will be way better. So all y'all listeners, just comment, and ours will be much more scientific.
And it's like 2 out of 3 people.
And then we can publish things. So how does it start? How does the inner monologue develop for you? For you, was it since childhood?
Yeah, I think I never realized that it wasn't a thing. So I don't think I noticed like when it started, but it's definitely always been there. And I think there's also a higher chance for only child to develop it because, I'm an only child.
Yeah, only child. I get that though, because we grew up alone.
Yeah,
So we would
and you have to
converse with
play by
ourselves.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vivid imagination. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So then with vivid imagination, I think you kind of develop that inner
Yeah.
monologue.
But I think for me, it's more visual. Like, I used to zone out and I can watch a movie in my head.
What?
Yeah, like, I could just play any movie, like, any story in my head and see it visually. And I can actually not see what's in front of me and just play it. But
Whoa, that's very interesting.
it's helpful for, like, art-related stuff because I can see what I need to see.
Yeah, and then draw it out.
Yeah, yeah. Or, like, I can see a movie and then if I make short movies or like films, then I can just do exactly what I saw in my head.
For me, I don't think it's as visual, but then I also, like, if I'm editing some videos or I'm trying to make some content, I kind of see it in my head as well.
Right.
But it's very momentarily. So it's like
Right.
a fleeting image.
Yeah.
It's really quick. Like I can't hold on to it.
Right, right. So it sounds like yours is more audio based because your audio is nonstop.
Yeah, so that's why like that visual is that 1 second and then my
Yeah.
audio turns on again. And I'm like, God damn it.
Has it always been like random topics for you since childhood?
Yeah, it's just whatever pops into my mind. So the way that I fall asleep too is I let my mind wander.
Yeah.
And I don't try to control my thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I let my mind wander, like I let my thoughts wander into a dream. And that's how I fall asleep.
Wait, what? That
Does that make sense?
That sounds like magic.
This whole episode is going to be super abstract.
It's like trying to describe a Picasso. So the nose is in the eyes?
Yeah. And the ears are on the forehead.
Yeah, but it's a Picasso. Wait,
But the ear doesn't look like an ear.
you let your thoughts wander into a dream. Does it naturally
Yeah.
do that? Or do you have to like
Yeah, that's how I...
herd it into that pen?
No, so I just let my thoughts think whatever. Like I just let my inner monologue say whatever
Yeah.
it comes to mind. I mean,
So it'll be like,
it's still
oh, the pillow is
me.
so comfortable. Oh, the aircon is so nice. Oh, the pillow. Oh, dream.
Yeah, kind of like that, but except it talks in like different scenarios. Kind of like Inception, where it's like I'm in a restaurant with someone talking about something, and then a big spoon appears through the door, and then a dog bites the spoon. So I just let my imagination run wild, and then I end up asleep.
Oh, what? But then that's all audio based. It's not visual.
Yeah, it's all audio, and then it becomes
Whoa.
visual. My dreams are very visual.
That sounds like the audio version of the movie.
Inception.
Inception. Yes, I told you. I told you.
You were watching it in your brain already.
Yeah, I was. I could see every scene, but the name. I don't know the name.
Yeah. Okay, when you dream,
Yeah.
do you hear voices as well, or like do you talk? Do you hear music?
I do hear some audio, but not music. Never music. But like you do?
Yeah, I do. I hear music. I sing
That's so
sometimes in my
noisy.
dream.
What the freak? It's so noisy. Your whole world is so noisy. You know, I wake myself up if I speak in my dream.
Oh, I don't speak in my dreams though.
You sing. How's that?
Yeah, but it's all in my brain. It's my inner monologue. It's like a completely different world in my brain.
Like okay, so to clarify, when I dream and I go like, oh, or like I say like, oh yeah, or something, I wake myself up.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I'm really quiet sleeper. I don't talk in my dreams. I don't sing out loud. I don't scream.
But it's on.
It's just all in my head. Yeah. And that's why, you know, some people are like, oh, I've got that song stuck in my head.
Yeah.
It's literally, I have that song stuck in my head. Like, I dreamt about it, and then I wake up with the melody and the singing.
How long does that stay in your head?
Is this song? Until, like, I listen to another song, maybe.
So I can ruin your life right now by playing it.
That's gotta be so catchy that my inner self
every time you get Rickrolled, the day is gone. You're gonna get Rickrolled for the whole day.
No, mine is still Taylor Swift.
Okay, all right, fair. Do you dialogue with your inner monologue?
I definitely do. I talk to myself a lot. So, which is actually, if you try to Google and search up on what it's like for people with inner monologues, it's more like a private speech. It's having a discussion with yourself inside your head. So it's not like, you know, how people say, I hear voices telling me to do this and that. It's not that. I don't hear some random person in my brain. Just to clarify, everyone. It's just me, myself, and I.
It's three.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you usually talk to yourself about?
Just things that are happening, like what I need to do for the day. If I'm planning something, I'm talking to myself about it.
Like, does it tell you, oh, that's not a good thing to do today? Or what if you do something else today?
Yeah, it's a complete conversation. It's just me and me talking things out.
That's so helpful for processing.
Yes and no, because you could be in conflict with yourself the entire time.
So you could disagree the whole time.
Yeah, or it's like the negative self-talk. No, I don't get angry at myself.
But then if you're disagreeing with yourself and your disagreeing self is always speaking, isn't that really annoying?
But it's not like an emotional disagreement. Like, it's still very logical. Like, I don't think there's emotions when I'm talking to my inner monologue. I am never, like, yelling at it. It's not a split self.
Okay.
It's just me trying to rationalize all the different, like, options or, like, alternatives or, you know, different scenarios that would play out.
Yeah.
And then I pick the one that I think would be best.
That sounds like a best friend.
I don't need anyone else.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, but it's not helpful if there is negative self-talk, you know,
right.
Which is irrational. And I notice it as well. I'll like say things like, oh, you were so awkward at that social scenario. I bet that person thought you were so stupid for making that comment. And then you just go on and on and on. And I'm like, again, shut up.
So then it would be like an echo chamber, but a negative one.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what about like, okay, so for you, if you don't hear these things, but it's usually more visual, then are you a visual learner?
Yeah, I'm definitely visual. So you can tell me how to do something with my hands, like carve something or draw something. You can tell me in as much detail as you want. But I've zoned out after the fifth word. But you can do it once in person and I can probably do it like quite perfectly.
Oh. So if someone shows you how to do something, you'll be able to replicate it like right away. Yeah.
Oh. But if they tell me, I just zone out.
Do you ever pick up dancing?
No, I don't dance. I don't like dancing.
Oh. Okay. Because then I was like, that's exactly how you learn dance, right? Like you watch someone do something and then you do it yourself.
Right. Well, it's actually for me, the example might be modeling. Like I learn poses really quickly. So how to pose, I just go on Instagram, I scroll through my feed and I learn new poses, like how to angle and all that. And so people can't teach poses like verbally, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That makes sense too. I have that as well. It's like when I'm taking photos or like photography, then I'll have some image in my mind and then I'll be like, oh, okay, that's how I want to frame that shot.
Yeah.
It brings me to the topic too of like, because people have an inner monologue, we think that we're usually more of like a reader learner instead of a visual learner. Because like you said, it's like, for me, it's more like audio. Like I hear the words when I read a novel.
Yeah.
So then when you read a novel, do you like see the words or do you just have the image in your head?
I imagine it. That's why it takes a bit longer for me. I'm a bit of a slower reader. If I just read it, it doesn't really make sense in my brain. Like I actually have to watch the movie in my head as I read it, and then I just watch the whole movie. So a book is a movie for me.
For me, it's kind of the same thing. I hear the words in my head, but I've been trying to read it, so I'm not reading the
it's
words,
faster.
But instead trying to visualize it.
Oh, you're trying to do that, to visualize it?
Yeah. Okay. So I skim through the words and then I have the picture in my brain.
That's why I can't really skim, at least fiction, because it's like I haven't watched it, so I don't know what's happening.
Well, apparently research also indicates that people with inner monologue, like they do gravitate towards verbal learning styles. So it's like a preference for reading, writing, and engaging with content in a linguistic manner. Mm-hmm. And then visual learners are the ones with a less pronounced inner monologue, and they favor visual, spatial modes of information processing. You know, when you do those, have you ever, because as a therapist, when you interview for your job, you don't have to do those.
The aptitude kind of tests?
Yeah, the aptitude tests, yeah.
Not really.
Oh, because we have to do them for all of like the different companies.
Yeah.
And I always have to like draw it out, but I know some people can just see it in their brain and like move the object.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
You can do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I think that's why.
Bummer.
I can't.
But you can speak it.
If you had a choice, do you think you would want a constant inner monologue?
Nope. Your world sounds so noisy. I'm the type of guy who I would turn off my music just to walk, because it's too noisy already, so I just want to be quiet. So I turn off the music and it's quiet.
Yeah, I have to do that too. Or sometimes when you're trying to multitask and then your music,
you turn it down to see better.
It's too loud. Yeah, well, it's like when you're driving and you're trying to find the way, you have to turn down your music for some reason.
Yeah, turn on aircon and just lots of everything.
Yeah, it's like, stop, I lost my way because the music was too loud.
Cover my ears to see better. Yeah, I do that. Yeah. I totally do that.
I think there are people who completely do not have an inner monologue, though. So you still have one.
Yeah.
But there are some people who don't, like, at all, I think.
So they don't even have a voice at all in their head.
Yeah, so they just think in images or like visual sequences, like what you said, rather than words.
Yeah.
And it's more like conceptual thinking. So apparently some of them describe their thought process as understanding concepts and ideas directly without translating them into speech.
Oh, I don't know how that's possible.
I know, like just hearing that too, I'm like, how does that work? Like someone describes like maybe like a really difficult physics concept to you.
Oh yeah,
like,
fair enough.
Yep, got it. So apparently the conceptual thinking, it's so fast. Like it leads to like rapid assimilation of information.
So those are smart people. Wait, what does that say about us?
Oh wow. I did read that people with or without an inner monologue, it doesn't relate to whether you're smart or not.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
There's no correlation.
Okay. It's funny. We were saying like, so there's these different kinds of people who think in different ways. I know someone who actually has no visual imagination.
What?
So it's all just like concept or words. It's just
what is that?
So he can't imagine an apple. He can't visualize it.
Like even if he sees the apple, he can't close his eyes and like see it in his mind.
I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's like an extreme of having an inner monologue then, right?
But it's not so much about monologue. It's more about how
It's just thought process.
how you think.
But like having a monologue is also a form of how you think. Because my monologue is what helps me think. Because it's the one that's like digesting all the information and like breaking it down in my mind.
I haven't asked him about that, but I think it's like different. I think he can just turn it off and on, but it's just an off-on way of thinking verbally and conceptually. So it's something between yours and conceptual thinkers.
Wow. I wonder what it's like to think conceptually like, without a voice to explain it to you.
We obviously can't right now. We're doing a case in point here right now. We know the concept, but we're like, I can't visualize.
Yeah, but I can't imagine. Like, I just don't understand. I think we're just dumb. Maybe someone will need to draw it out for us.
Yeah, if they do, I'll be like, oh, the mind map.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I get it. For me, I feel like that's why I feel words are very important, and whatever you say can paint a different picture in someone else's mind or shape their feelings. But then you also like you write a lot of poetry, and as a therapist, you also have to be very careful with what you say and the words that you use.
Yeah.
So when you're going through that, are you visualizing all of those things first and then putting it into words?
No. Poetry, yes, sometimes, depending on the topic, but not in therapy. I don't really visualize much in therapy.
Oh, so it just comes to you, like it's like natural.
I think in therapy, I'm more conceptual.
Oh, so you do know what conceptual thinking is then?
Yeah, I just realized. Yeah, that's half my life. That's half of my daily life. But I totally forgot about it. Oh yeah, I do. Like what people say, I get in therapy, but not all the time. Like with friends and stuff, it's like I just resort back to like visual. I'm dumb again.
Yeah, you're just dumb with friends.
Yeah,
but as a therapist, you're smart. I think that's fine.
They get the best of me.
Yeah, that's the most important part, anyways.
Yeah, because that would be so slow in therapy. Like, how would I visualize everything?
Yeah, like you have to play out what your client is saying to you about the scenario that they went through.
Yeah, way too slow. Because as you know, in therapy, we have so much to keep track of in our brains. Like past, present, future, me, them, transference, counter-transference, reading between the lines, what they say versus what they mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's so conceptual. Everything is conceptual.
So it just has to happen right away without, like, going through words or visualization.
Yeah. Even audio and words would be slightly discounted because people sometimes mean what they don't say. We just have to understand them sometimes, which is so vague.
Yeah. So another thing for like people without an inner monologue is that research says that thoughts can also manifest as a blend of sensory experiences or emotions. So the individual actually feel their way through thoughts or decisions without having to articulate them in words. So then it's kind of like it's associated with like, you know, the gut reaction or intuition. So you're just like, it's a feeling.
Yeah. It's like a trained feeling. Do it often.
Well, I guess.
And then.
Yeah, I guess especially for you because it's your profession.
Yeah.
So by now you're like a muscle response almost.
Yeah, it's like a default. That facial expression with that voice equals instantly something.
So it is kind of like intuition.
Kind of, yeah. But then it took a long time to learn it, I think.
I wonder if there's like a correlation between, you know, having an inner monologue and whether you have better intuition. Because I also think I'm pretty good at like reading a room or someone's like emotions. But then I have an inner monologue. So maybe it's not as relevant. Or maybe because...
How intuitive is your inner monologue when it comes to reading people?
Oh, I guess my inner monologue tells me.
Oh, okay. It's like
so I'll be like
having a little helper. It's like, hey, hey.
I think David's sad.
Yeah, I think
he's angry at you. Wait, I think those are tears.
Did it rain?
It's like already raining. Yeah. It's already raining and you're like, I think there's a 60% chance it's gonna rain.
Wait, so your inner monologue is very observant. It's very like a Sherlock Holmes kind of inner monologue.
Well, yeah, not like Sherlock Holmes, but Yeah, I'm quite similar. On the same stream.
I'm so sorry. Oh, I regret.
Yes and no, because it could be wrong as well, right? Like it's just it's
Oh.
not 100% right. Like that's why that's where the negative talk comes in as well. Like
Right.
I think reading people, I am quite sensitive and like 80% it's right, but then there are moments where I go way too deep into it.
Right.
I'll be like, okay, this person is feeling this way right now, and then my inner monologue will be like, well, it's because you did this and you did that and you did this, and I'm
dang,
like,
I don't know how
that's
to
not
trust
right,
it. I
that's
don't know
the
how to trust
irrational.
it. Oh, that's horrible. The only thing worse than someone who's always wrong is someone who's sometimes right and sometimes
Yeah. You're trying to figure out which part is right and which part is wrong. But I think by now I've learned how to
Right.
identify which one is the right and which one is wrong. But also it's with cognitive behavioral therapy training as well, where I have to give myself the evidence to
right.
like if I know it's an irrational thought,
Yeah.
then I'll give myself the evidence to prove that it's irrational.
Right. We call it cognitive challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to challenge myself all the
Okay.
time. Like,
Oh man.
I'm like, oh, it's because of you. You made that person mad. And then I'll be like, how? What did I do to make that person mad? And I'll be like, well, you did this. And I'm like, really? Do you really think that person would be mad because of this? And then I'll be like, okay, maybe not.
That's ideal CBT. That's like a case study in a textbook. Dang. Okay, so does CBT really work for you then?
Yeah, but that's why I think in one of our previous episodes of Do You Need a Friend or a Therapist?
Yeah.
And I talked about doing online therapy, and
Right.
I realized that CBT didn't work for me because I'm already having it in my own brain. Like I don't need another therapist to guide me through it.
Oh, because you
I
really
already know
practice
it's
it. Yeah,
irrational.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But I still can't stop.
I think my conclusion is I don't know whether it's helpful or not, and I probably just don't want that in my life.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to be like, do you think it's good for the mental health having a constant inner monologue?
Can you tell us? Do you think it's helpful?
Can you, after hearing me talk about it this entire
not to rub it in or anything, but suddenly I appreciate my silence a lot more.
I do think without an inner monologue, that's what meditation is trying to achieve, right? That silence, being in the moment.
But okay, this is a meta question, I guess. Why is quietness better than having a monologue?
Okay, well, I did read somewhere else that having an inner monologue does help people to reflect a lot more.
Yeah,
so I think that part is good, right? Yeah. So if you reflect responsibly, you don't go into...
Sounds like a government ad.
I know. Reflect responsibly.
Don't think under the influence.
Don't reflect and drive.
Don't drink and think.
Oh, that's a very good one.
Oh, that's really good. Put that on the shirt.
David always coming up with the quotes.
Another banger. Another one.
Don't drink and think, which is actually so accurate.
That's actually true, though. That's good advice.
Really, don't drink and think. Don't think under the influence.
Don't TUI.
But yeah, I think that part, like being able to reflect, is good because you're always reflecting on, what you could do better. But there is a fine line between inflicting it too much on yourself.
Infliction versus reflection.
Oh, just giving you all the good ones.
I like silence, but it's probably just because the silence allows me to think. So it's not silence from a voice, but it's silence so that I can find my voice or let my voice do its thing.
Yeah, so you're like clearing your mind without all the chatter, which then is exactly what meditation is also about, right?
Yeah,
like you're trying to clear it so
Exactly.
then you are able to think better or like reflect better.
Yeah, but I think it used to be when I was younger that my brain is always cluttered and there's a lot of thoughts, but it's always like task oriented or productivity oriented.
Oh, you're like, I need to do this.
Yeah, I can do this, but it's like, well, this is kind of like my usual trait. And now I'm like doing one job and then multiple jobs. I used to be like, oh, I'll be listening to a lecture. Oh, let's write a book. And then I was like writing a book while I was listening to a lecture. And then it's like, it's always on. So
yeah, it's like opening up all the tabs in your browser in your mind.
Literally, there was like 20 tabs and all of them were running full steam. So ever since I think 2 years ago, I stopped doing that and I just really turned everything down.
But how do you just stop?
I stopped giving into them. So the tabs were all playing and I kind of muted them. And I only stayed on one tab at a time. And then until the longer I stayed on one, the other tabs just like close off after like a certain inactivity period.
Like, is there a training like that you did with yourself for you to only focus on that one tab?
I think lockdown helped a lot. Because I was taking long walks by myself in complete silence. So I chose to turn off the music. I didn't check my phone. I just turned everything off. I took a long walk, like 2 hours in the nature. And then that really quieted my brain down.
Oh, interesting. I guess that's the form of a meditation for you.
Yeah, walking.
Where it helped you clear.
Mindful walking kind of. So now I almost dissociate when I walk. So I can just, I just forget that I'm walking. And I'll be like walking for 20 minutes and suddenly I'm like, oh, I'm back. And then like,
what?
I'm just gone for 20 minutes.
That sounds like sleepwalking and it sounds dangerous.
Oh, no. I'm not walking into cars, okay?
I don't know. It sounds like you've turned everything off, like your brain.
Yeah, I do turn it off. Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
But you're still there, right? Like you're still.
I am still there. Like, I know not to crash into stuff.
Yeah, like walk into a tree.
Yeah. That's the extent. A tree alert.
Yeah, or you just keep walking into the tree.
Like an NPC, I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Okay, so it's not like that. It's just you turned off all your thoughts.
Yeah.
But then are you like enjoying the nature as you're walking, or it's nothing?
Not really. It's just nothing. Because nature just gets me in that mode quicker. Because when there's people around, that's annoying for me. Yeah. My social anxiety pops up. So I have to walk by myself beside the water in the middle of the day, so there's nobody really. And then I just zone out when I'm comfortable enough. And then an hour later, I'm like, I'm so tired. Why am I so tired? Oh, right. I've been walking for an hour. Let's go home.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a form of meditation that I wonder if I need to try that. Because I used to do like maybe like 2 to 3 minutes before I sleep. And then that actually helps clear out the thoughts. It's only 2-3 minutes for me to shut off the yipping yapping in my brain.
How do you stop it again? You didn't tell us how you stop it.
Oh, I actually use Headspace.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
this is
I've heard a lot of
non-sponsored.
Oh, we should have been like, head dude. Wait, okay, Headspace. Yeah, that's good. That's a good one. So many of my clients use it.
Yeah, they have guided meditation. And then, you focus on your breathing and then I'm looking for that 0.5 seconds that I was talking about, that clarity where it's nothing, like complete quietness.
Wow.
And once I achieve that 0.5 seconds, it just helps me sleep a lot better.
You only need that. You don't even have to stay in that. It's that you found it.
Yeah, but I have to do it consistently. And then you can start doing longer periods because then that 0.5 seconds can grow.
Oh, it can grow. Okay. Yeah, going to sleep is a big difference too with an inner monologue versus without. Like I sleep really easily, but then I didn't know how easily I fell asleep until I lived with my cousin before. He was like, he had to be on his phone for an hour before bed, like just to quiet himself down. And then...
Oh, but then people are like, you shouldn't be on your phone because just like...
So I didn't get that. And then I was like, oh, I just sleep. And then he was like, what do you mean you just sleep? Like,
what do you mean? You close your eyes?
You just go to the shower and then you walk to your bed and sleep.
Yeah, you just
that's all
switch.
I do.
It's like you turn off the lights and you just turn off your brain. Yeah, same. I don't get that either. Because then once I close my eyes, my inner monologue starts and it's like way louder. And that's why I said I need to let it drift into like absolute nonsense.
Right. Okay. Until it's delirious.
And then I'm like, oh, it's a dream now.
Okay. I don't think there is a mental health component to it, I guess. Because it sounds like there's pros and cons to both.
I agree. I'm talking about pros and cons.
Red flag, green flag.
Red flag or green flag?
Red flag or green flag if you see a child talking to someone you can't see.
This is the beginning of a horror movie.
Omen or what? Orphan or...
I think if they're like, not staring at a wall consistently saying that, this is Bob, mommy. Like, Bob says he's lived here for years.
Bob's telling us to release him.
I think if it's not that, if the child is having an imaginary friend or, an only child having to play with themselves, I think it's a green flag. It builds their imagination and creativity.
Talking out loud?
Yeah, I mean, I used to play by myself and I talk out loud. Well, I'll sit down pretending I'm in front of an imaginary classroom, and then I'll start reading a book to my imaginary students. And then I'll be like, yes, Kitty, what was your question? That's a stupid question.
Oh, yeah, that's where the self-talk comes.
Didn't your mommy tell you not to ask stupid questions in class?
Oh, wow. Jeez. Anyways, moving on. So it's a
red flag.
It's a green flag because it's nurturing imagination. As long as it's not creepy. So. Okay.
Yeah, as long as it's not creepy.
Yeah, parents what do you don't take advice from us. I think it's green flag too. Second one, red flag or green flag. Someone who talks faster than they can think.
I kind of think that's a red flag.
Why?
I'm sorry to some of my friends who do that, but sometimes they just say things without thinking, and it comes out it could be like really negative, it could be really insulting. I know that they don't mean it, but sometimes you're just like, can you just take a moment, pause, and think before you talk? I mean, that's where the phrase comes from, right?
Yeah,
like, think before you talk.
Yeah. It's before. Emphasis.
Yeah, before, yes.
Not during.
Not during.
Yes, I agree.
Even during is not good enough.
Those are the ones who like say something and then like, oh wait, that sounded better in my head. But
then I wonder if people who say that, if they actually have an inner monologue in their head. If people without an inner monologue, can they use that phrase? Or they just never understood it?
I've said that. Because I've said that too myself. It sounded better in my head. But I didn't sound it out in my head.
Oh, so you're lying.
I'm a liar.
Red flag.
Cancelled. Anyways, number 3. Red flag or green flag. Someone who always justifies their behavior because a voice told them to. This sounds like a diagnostic question.
Depends on how many voices.
It depends.
And what they're being told to do.
Yeah.
Is it to harm people or harm themselves?
Yeah. And it's always justified. That's a lot of acting on voices.
I mean, I can't use that and be like, my voice inside my head told me so. Well, it's me. Like, it was me.
Exactly. Unless it was someone else's voice, then that's a different question.
Yeah, then I would need to see a psychiatrist, maybe? Or psychologist first, and then
probably a psychiatrist. Just go straight.
Yeah, like right away, just go straight to a psychiatrist. This is when you know.
Yeah. Yeah, red for me.
Yeah, I think it's a red flag too. You can't use that to justify.
Just to make it just to complicate it. What if they're always doing nice stuff, like helping homeless people and feeding the poor, and it's like, yes, the voices told me to do. Okay, when I say it like that, that's really good.
It's still a red flag. Oh, but okay. Let's say it's a beige flag.
I still think it's a red.
I still think it's a red flag. I still think they need to see a psychiatrist.
I feel like someday they'll poison the food they're feeding the poor with that.
Okay, yeah. It's a fine line.